argued that talking is a student's trait, and I would do my best to keep it under control, but I would never be able to cure myself of the habit since my mother talked as much as I did, if not more, and that there's nothing much you can do about inherited traits. In these lines, we can see a very confident, intelligent, and logical Annie Frank. Though young, she was quite strong at mind and heart. She can put forward her points very clearly and in a very logical manner. The very idea of linking her talkative nature to her inherited traits proves that she had the skills of a lawyer who can really put forward her argument to her favor and drive the point home. Indeed, Annie Frank was too intelligent for her age. Mr. Keesing had a good laugh at my arguments. But when I proceeded to talk my way through the next lesson, he assigned me a second essay. This time it was supposed to be on an incorrigible chatterbox. Incorrigible means one who repeats the mistakes again and again and cannot get rid of it. For Annie Frank, her talkative nature was not so much as a crime than to Mr. Keesing. Mr. Keesing could not tolerate his students talking in the class, and if we look at from his point of view, he was indeed correct to give her some kind of punishment. But again, we need to look into the fact that Mr. Keesing has not given her any corporal punishment but just an imposition. So we can also get an idea about the school system there that prevents corporal punishment. I handed in, and Mr. Keesing had nothing to complain about for another 2 whole lessons. However, during the third lesson, he had finally had enough. Annie Frank, as punishment for talking in class, write an essay, quack, 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 said Mistress Chatterbox. These lines clearly prove that little Annie Frank could not get rid of her inherited traits. She loved to talk, no doubt. On the other hand, it has become a regular thing with Mr. Keesing getting annoyed with her. When he had finally got so angry, he gave her a very extraordinary essay to be written, and this time in quotation marks, quack, 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 said Mistress Chatterbox. And we can only wonder how Annie Frank dealt with this new essay but still with the same topic. The class roared. I had to laugh too, though I had nearly exhausted the ingenuity on the topic of chatterboxes. It was time to come up with something else, something original. In these lines, we can see that Annie Frank was quite sporting in nature. She did not take the essays as a burden. In fact, she wanted to create something original. Though she had lost all the words or all the ideas on writing essays on chatterboxes, but she was not going to give up, and she was thinking of coming up with something different and something better. So this was what Annie Frank was like. She was full of life and she really wanted to prove herself. My friend Zane, who's good at poetry, offered to help me write the essay from beginning to end in verse, and I jumped for joy. Mr. Keesing was trying to play this joke on me with this ridiculous subject, but I had made sure that the joke was on him. These lines reveals that Annie Frank was in no mood of writing another essay on the same topic. But again, we see that she was quite spirited when her friend Zane offered to help her and to write the entire essay in verse form. It was really fun for her and it was great excitement. On the other hand, she too wanted Mr. Keesing to learn a lesson because she was not able to feed him into his mind about the topic inherited traits, which she mentioned in the previous essay. So Annie Frank was just like any other little girl. However, she thought differently. She felt that kissing would really need to understand what she meant. I finished my poem and it was beautiful. It was about a mother duck and a father swan with their baby ducklings who were beaten to death by the father because they quacked too much. Luckily, Mr. Keesing took the joke the right way. The poem had a great deeper meaning. The meaning of the poem indirectly puts forward the fact that children are by nature gregarious and talkative, and it is a time that they need to speak up and feel the world around them. But if they were stopped, how would children behave? They would lose their ability to look into the world with new hope. In fact, they would die before they can live their life. Mr. Keesing did understand the meaning of the poem. He must have felt what Annie Frank wanted to tell him or convey to him through the poem. He knew that Annie Frank was right, and that is how Annie Frank had made a mark in the classroom and even in the mind of an elderly or elderly person. The story about the mother duck and the father duck was indeed very emotional and very touching, and the death of the little duckling. He read the poem to the class, adding his own comments, and to several other classes as well. Since then, I haven't been allowed to talk and haven't been assigned any extra homework. On the contrary, Mr. Keesing is always making jokes these days. Yours, Annie. So Annie Frank became quite famous in school with this extraordinary poem written by her along with her friend Sain. Mr. Keesing too was impressed. No doubt he went class to class to read the poem. But then Annie Frank was not allowed to talk anymore. But one good thing that happened was that she was never assigned any imposition or any homework, or she did not have to write any other essays on chatterboxes. And finally, you can see here that Annie has winded up her letter, yours, Annie, and that's how Annie Frank, she writes her diary, she informs, and she mentions about little things that happen in her life in a very beautiful and simple way.